All right, let's talk about the one thing that's on pretty much everyone's mind, AI and our jobs. We're going to go way beyond the usual headlines here, because the real story, the one that actually matters, isn't about which jobs are going to vanish. It's about a deep, fundamental shift in what it even means to be a valuable employee. Okay, let's get into it.
So, this is the big question, right? The one that keeps a lot of us staring at the ceiling at night. You hear about AI writing code, designing marketing campaigns, even drafting legal contracts. And yeah, according to Pew Research, more than half of all workers in the US are feeling pretty worried about this. It kind of feels like no one's job is totally safe.
But what if we've been asking the wrong question this whole time? The analysis we've seen suggests the threat isn't really about a specific job title, like accountant or software developer. It's about a type of worker, a certain kind of employee. And figuring out that difference, well, that's the absolute key to surviving and even thriving in this new AI world.
To really get what's happening, you have to kind of rewire your brain a little. See, for decades, labor economists have seen this exact pattern play out. New technology doesn't just come in and wipe jobs off the face of the earth. Nope. What it does is trigger this massive reshuffling of all the little tasks that make up our jobs.
This right here, this changes the whole conversation. The old mindset, job elimination, it's all about fear. But this new way of thinking, task reconfiguration, that's all about strategy. Of course, AI is going to automate some of the stuff we do, but it's also going to create totally new tasks we haven't even thought of yet, forcing us to rebuild how our jobs actually work. So the question to ask isn't, will my job disappear? It's, how is the bundle of tasks I do every single day about to change?
And this is exactly why it's a reconfiguration and not just a replacement. You got to understand, AI isn't some magic wand that's suddenly amazing at everything. Its skills are incredibly uneven. It's a concept called the jagged frontier. An AI might be a genius at drafting a sales email, but be completely tone-deaf and clueless about when to send it. It can spit out 1,000 ideas in a second, but it has no idea which one is actually brilliant. This spiky, jagged profile means AI can't just swallow a job whole. It can only nibble at the edges, handling specific, well-defined little pieces.
So if AI is just handling certain tasks, then who's actually in the danger zone? Well, it turns out it's a very specific kind of person. An employee who, ironically, used to be seen as the perfect worker.
Whew. This quote is blunt, no doubt about it, but it just cuts right to the chase. The employee that we all used to celebrate for being so efficient, so productive, the person who just got stuff done, they're now in the most vulnerable position of all.
Let's just give this person a name, the task worker. We all know this person. They are amazing at pure execution. You give them a to-do list, and they just crush it. They're masters of that flow state, where they get so deep into their work that hours just disappear. They are hardworking, super reliable, and incredibly productive.
And here's the trap. The myth was that if you were the best, most efficient doer, you were irreplaceable. But the hard reality is, AI is the ultimate doer. It doesn't need coffee, it never gets bored, and it can process tasks at a speed and scale that we can't even begin to imagine. So the task worker's greatest strength, just pure execution, is now the very thing that's becoming automated. It's a race they just can't win.
Okay, so if being a doer isn't the safe bet anymore, what's the move? Well, the value is shifting. It's moving away from simply doing the work and moving towards designing and architecting the work. Let's break down what that actually means.
So this is the key. Our value is basically moving up a level. It's about problem framing, not just doing the work, but actually defining what done and successful even look like. It's about task redesign, being the smart strategist who decides what to hand off to the AI. And maybe most important of all, it's about verification and audit. AI lies. It makes stuff up. It creates these plausible-sounding errors that look totally real. Your new critical skill is using your deep human expertise to catch those errors and be the one who's ultimately responsible for the quality of the final product.
Now let's be real for a second. This anxiety we're all feeling, it's not just coming from sci-fi movies or something. It's actually being cranked up to 11 by real changes happening inside our companies, especially in the tech world.
Hey, remember that number? Over half of us are worried. And you know what? There's a really good reason for it. While we talk a lot about the cultural fear of AI, the thing that's putting the pressure on us right now is coming from somewhere you might not expect: our annual performance reviews.
So you've got these two powerful forces colliding. On one side, you have the Frankenstein complex. That classic story we've told ourselves for centuries about our creations turning on us. But the real engine driving the fear today is institutional.
Companies are changing how they evaluate us. They're getting way more aggressive about rewarding the top few percent and, well, managing out everyone else. That safe middle ground is evaporating, which makes the abstract threat of AI feel like a very real, very immediate risk to your career.
So, here's the perfect way to think about it. All those cultural stories about robots taking over, that's the fuel, making us all nervous and ready to believe the worst. But the engine, the thing that's actually making this fear a part of our daily lives, that's the shift in corporate policy that's making us all feel less secure.
Okay, we've defined the problem inside and out. Now for the good part. Let's talk about the solution. How do you, personally, make that critical shift from being a vulnerable task worker to becoming an indispensable work architect?
First things first, it's a mental shift. You have to get this into your head. Trying to work harder or faster than an AI is a game you will lose. Every single time. You cannot be a better task worker than a machine that was literally built for it. The goal is to elevate your role, to become the designer of the whole system, where AI is just one of the tools in your toolbox.
Here it is, a practical 3-step plan. Number 1, decompose. I want you to literally make a list of every single tiny task you do in your job. Get granular. Number 2, delegate. Now go through that list and circle all the repetitive, execution-heavy stuff. Those are the pieces you strategically hand over to AI. And number 3, and listen, this is the most important step, verify. You don't just delegate and walk away. No, you design the process for checking the work. You become the auditor, the quality control specialist, the person who puts their stamp on it and takes final responsibility. That's where the value is.
So in the end, it all boils down to this one question. Are you just showing up every day to process a list of tasks, or are you the one designing how that work gets done in the first place? Because the future of your career isn't about being the most efficient person in the room anymore. It's about being the smartest architect. That's the shift we all have to make. Thanks so much for tuning in.